Okay, I have a really big microphone static noise problem, and I think it just means I need a new Yeti. I don't know. Maybe I should lower the gain. Let's see. Let's see. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. I know I have a problem with my microphone. And that's a big problem too, because these things are not cheap. Alright, we are back with more Final Fantasy. Gotta turn my light up. This godforsaken light that might be making me blind. I might be going blind for content. Probably don't have to worry about it. It's probably brighter outside. A young maiden here who would speak with you. I wish I could quit my job. I really do. I gotta get on it. The adventurer has arrived. The adventurer, that's me! And here he is, the liberator of both Doma and Alamigo in the flesh. I am Lena Merila, correspondence for the Raven. You may recognize me from my expose on the secret lives of the homunculi. But enough small talk. It's not for nothing that I've been standing here since yesterday morning on the off chance you'd pass by. No, I'm here because... Actually, it's best you heard it from Alma. I am but an observer. I gotta get a quiet computer. Alma, come, I found him. Alma. Is this the adventure of whom you spoke? Of whom? Who says of whom? Indeed it is. Please, I beg of you, find my father. You are his only hope. Oh dear, what's wrong? You lost your dad? Stop crying, it's okay. You don't have to cry. We're attracting unwanted attention. Might I suggest a change of venue? We will await you before the Prima Vista. The theater barge has a berth at the airship landing. Very well. My red highlights. Ba-da-ba. Ba, 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 da, na, na. Oh, I have to use my, what do you call it? My allowances. Wait, what's going on? I have no idea what's going on. The Prima Vista serves as both stage and home to the Majestic Imperial Theater Company. Oh, this is the Alliance raid. Sweet. You can keep that dirk in your drawers. No one here is a member of the Imperial Army, nor are there any spies within the troop. At least no known spies. Ask anyone and they will readily attest the Majestic Imperial Theater Company at the finest are the finest practitioners of the dramatic arts to be found anywhere on the three great continents and beyond. And they have admirers throughout the Empire and its territories, and even boast a sizable following in Gridania, hence my assignment to their story. Some performers. It's a little-known fact, outside of Garlemald at least, that the late Emperor was a devoted patron of the arts, who supported various theater troupes to the tune of much coin. Indeed, Solus was so enamored of the majestic players that he ordered the construction of this very airship, that the troupe might perform in every corner of the Empire. When his grandson took the throne, however, everything changed. Now, all theater troupes, domestic and foreign, must submit their works for approval by the Central Imperial Board of Censors. If a play is deemed vulgar or inflammatory, it is banned, and the troupe denied their writs of transit. The worst offender, well, they're never heard from again. The worst offenders are never heard from again. This policy has effectively left playwrights with one of two options: compromise their creative integrity to curry favor with his radiance, or put down their quills altogether. The Principal of the Majestic, however, chose a third option, to express his disapproval of the new Emperor's policies, obliquely in ostensibly unpolitical works. Pray forgive me for my earlier outburst. I am Almabas Lesentale, daughter of Principal daughter of Principal Genomus Senlizuntail. Mayhap you have heard of my father's latest play, the Zodiac Brave Story. On the surface, it's an innocent retelling of a well-known Garlean fairy tale, hardly worthy of the censor's attention. But beneath, it is something quite different, a fact that the censors failed to spot when they approved the manuscript. Ooh, subliminal messaging. For public performance. The play quickly became a huge success. The common folk loved its fantastical story, while the learned classes appreciated its true message. By the time the Imperial Board of Censors realized their mistake, it was too late. No longer in a position to prohibit the performance outright without admitting fault, they took aim at the company's purse strings instead. Before long, noble patrons began to withdraw their support, fearing to be associated with the troupe, and by the end, even the learned felt compelled to feign ignorance. By beginning the majestic of their funding, the censors robbed them of their voice. That's business. And none of this has made it any clearer as to why you're here, right? Allow me, Lena. Oh, Sid. What are you doing here? You just pop up out of nowhere often. He just pops up out of nowhere. All the time. I've known Genomus since we were students at the Magitech Academy. When I heard his daughter was in Kugane looking to enlist the aid of an adventurer, I felt compelled to give her your name. Sorry for not announcing myself sooner, old friend. No problem at all. Happy to help. Genovis and I were from different worlds, but that only served to fuel our friendship. Many were the nights we would prattle on into the wee small hours, warm flagons of peated ale, numbing our minds to the other's naive ideologies. Yet no matter where our conversation began, it would invariably end with him telling me how he was going to change the Empire from the inside out. The troupe was to be his path into the people's hearts. Even after the Empire forced him from his home, Genomus never gave up hope that his work might change the world. Maybe my work will change the world. Drop a follow. Art will ever strain against artificial bounds and borders, man-made walls and misguided wars. It is in such times of uncertainty that we must needs embrace our calling and take to the skies so others might do the same. An artist with an airship. What I'm trying to say, rather poorly I concede, is that not all Garleans are hewn from the same stone. Just as there are those who pledge their lives to the Empire and would never think to question the authority of its leaders, there are those like Alma's father and myself whose love for the country does not bind them to its flaws. Still, try selling that sack of sunflower to an Alamegan or Doman who has watched his family consumed in the flames of Magitech Reaper. Yeah, that would be a tough sell, wouldn't it? Hey, I killed your whole family, but also forgive me because we're not all bad. How many Eorzean adventurers do you think would leap at the opportunity to help an Imperial search for her missing father, and in Garlean territory, no less? But you are different. You've seen enough to know that the line between good and evil is not defined by race, color, or creed. So what say you? I could never turn my back on a damsel in distress. My dragon boy. If you know, you know. Oh, thank you so much. Now that you understand the nature of the task, perhaps Alma could provide some insight as to where we might begin our search. Shortly before my father disappeared, he began work on his next play, a successor to the Zodiac Brave story. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Please follow me. Through adventure and hardship, young Delita, a boy of common blood, becomes a hero, culminating in the birth of the mythical kingdom of Evilis. But that is where the story ends. There are no records of anything that follows. Was Principal Genovis simply going to invent something? My father believed that he had discovered evidence of a second hero, one whose efforts went largely unnoticed, but without whom Delta would never have risen to the throne. His was the next tale he wanted to tell, the true Zodiac Brave story. A second hero? According to my father's studies, the young man was one of Delita's closest friends and confidants. That is, until the untimely passing of Delita's sister forced the two to part ways. Yet the unnamed hero continued to provide aid to his friend by thwarting the machinations of those who would scheme against Delita, thus paving the way for the Pauper's rise to regent. You must forgive me, but I've never heard anyone make such a claim. How exactly did your father come by this information? That is a long story. One which begins and ends with Genomus becoming lost in the very legend he sought to lay bare. Even as far back as our academy days, Evilis had Genomus firmly in his grasp. He flatly refused to believe the story was just a fairy tale. And so when he was finally driven out of Garlemald, it was only natural that he should choose this place of all places as his refuge. Was it not, Alma? That is correct, Master Garland. Master Galmond? Who's Galmond? That is correct, Master Garland. It has long been my father's belief that the ruins of ancient Evilis lie beyond Naxgia, buried beneath the sands of the Dalmasca Desert. What? Poor Dalmasca. The kingdom prospered in relative isolation for countless generations, until the Empire came along. When not touring, my father would organize expeditions into the Dalmasca Desert to search for proof of Evilis' existence. Sometimes he would bring back strange artifacts, ancient tomes, and crystals. Crystals unlike any others. Crystals unlike any others. My father called them auracite and claimed they were vital to proving his theories. This is one such crystal. Ooh. I should have been screenshotting all of this, by the way. By the 12, it's magnificent. Evilisian legend tells of crystals bequeathed by the gods unto those who would be kings. It is during his quest to gather auracite that young Delta rises to prominence. I must have heard the fairy tale 1,000 times from my nursemaid, but that is all it ever was, a tale. My father would often tell us how the auracite spoke to him. At the time, he assumed he was speaking figuratively, that the story's beauty roused his muse. But then he began to act strangely. How so? Following our arrival here in Hingashi, my father spent most of his time cloistered in his chambers, poring over his past research, and though he was alone, he would oft hear him in conversation. It was not uncommon for my father to recite the lines as he wrote them, but it soon became clear that this was something else. It was as if he was talking to my mother who passed several winters gone. Might this not have been out of mere loneliness, or perhaps the strain of your flight from Garlemald? Possibly, but that would not explain the voices which answered him. Alma, who are these people? I told you it did not require any help finding father, especially not from outsiders. So good of you to join us, Ramza. Allow me to introduce... Enough, Master Sid. We may be shunned by the Empire, but we're still Garleans, and we still have our pride, unlike some, it seems. We require neither the aid nor the pity of foreign rabble. Have you forgotten where you are, brother? It is we who are the foreign rabble. This land and its customs are all but unknown to us. We would be fools to conduct our search without a proven guide. Your sister's right, Ramza. As for my good friends here, your mistrust is ill-placed. I will personally vouch for his character. In all the time I've known him, he has never once let anything as insignificant as race or creed color his judgment. You're lucky to have him. But we would have you, Master Garland. Why do you refuse us? You know why. Until this affair with Omega is resolved, my hands are tied. It pains me to refuse you and your sister, but it pains me far more to leave Genomus to his fate. I am sorry. You need not apologize. I'll let my emotions get the better of me. After what happened in Rabanastre, it may be time to admit we're out of our depth. This is definitely an involved story arc. My brother's last expedition met with tragedy in the ruins of the capital city. He barely escaped with his life. The Empire turned Rabanastre into a death trap. You were a fool to set foot there without a proper escort. I realize that now, Master Garland, but at the time I saw an opportunity to rescue our father, and I took it. Whatever led you to believe your father was in Dalmasca's capital? My father's fascination with the Evalisian legend began with a trip to the Antedolivan city long before the war. Call it a premonition, but something tells me that that is where he is returned. Now you must excuse me, I need some time to think. Then, Alma, I shall leave you in your brother-in-law's capable hands. He has ever repaid my trust with interest. You would do well to grant him yours. Thank you, Master Garland. We will not forget this kindness. Master Garland seems to think highly of you, so withhold judgment until after Dalmasca. Dalmasca is nested in a forgotten corner of the Empire's outermost territories. I did not foresee any trouble from the standing army, but would suggest committing to memory the locations of each of the barge's exits, just in case. As for the flight itself, the currents above Dalmasca are as wild as the land below. You may want to hold on. What on earth is going on? Some guy, okay, so there was an ancient city. The guy went into the ancient city to do something. I don't remember what. Um, Something about orosite, crystals. I don't know. And they're looking for their dad. I'm gonna have to read this quest again. Maybe. We'll complete our descent to Rabanastri in the shuttle. Ramza! I thought I made myself clear, Alma. The capital is simply too dangerous. Father would never forgive me if I were to lose you to trying to rescue him. She can heal. Come, we are wasting time. You're wasting time. The royal city of Rabanastre. According to my father, Rabanastre was already a thriving city some 1,000 years ago. But after performing several private excavations beneath the so-called Desert Sapphire, my father came to the conclusion that it was not the first settlement to stand here. Then your father believes that Rabanastre sits atop the royal city of Lazalia, the capital of Evilis. But if that's true, it could change history. We would be famous. Famous? Are you sure you don't mean rich? Ha! Your kind are all alike. Parasites grown fat on the sweat and suffering of others. Jeez, who crawled up your behind? Bold words for a boy of but 16 summers. And what, pray tell, have I done to deserve such spite? I only wish to learn the truth behind the disappearance of the Empire's foremost playwright. If that should lead to something bigger, well then, I would be the worst reporter in the realm if I did not pursue it. Urgh. Oh dear. Drama. Yes, yes, we can argue about this now, or we can return to the Prima Vista and report to our army of adventurers that it is time to begin the expedition. I humbly suggest the latter. That's right. Let's get to that alliance raid. Well, let's queue for like 30 minutes and not get the queue pop. Now, I'm not gonna have time to do the alliance raid today, but maybe tomorrow. Maybe. Mlim 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 mlim. Uh-oh. Bad guys.
You see, it is as I said, brother. Let them come to us.
Should we kill them now?
No, the time is not right.
When has that stopped us before?
Fool, do you see that one? Slayer of gods, they call him. Warrior of light.
Ah,
The royal city of Rabanastre, now accessible. Okay, cool. To Rabanastre. You cannot expect me to walk away from this. If the legend of Evilus is true, the public has a right to know. Hold on, Father. Help is on its way. What a nice story. This was a really surprisingly good story so far. Missing father, legendary city, something about Orsite, and a bunch of bad guys in the shadows. I'm down for it. Too bad I can't do that right now because I don't have time. But maybe tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. Let me write that down. Okay, I will be right back. I'm going to get something. I don't know. Hold on. These are my extreme trials. Okay, so this is all of Kugane. Whoop, there's one more Kugane quest. Let's go. The new king on the block. I'm gonna pick up this quest and call it. Actually, let me call it now. Alright, thank you for watching. I will be back with more tomorrow at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there.